We're very happy and honored to be joined by the one and only Winky Wright, and a name very well known around the Tampa Bay area. What a career he has had in boxing, and really neat to have him here for the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. And Jason, this is somebody that even I know.
I know, and that's saying something.
I'm not a huge boxing fan, but when
fan.
you say Winky Wright, I've heard of that name, and I know who he is. So.
Well, I had the privilege of watching Winky really begin his professional career, fighting on my dad's cards, and knew from the very beginning he's going to be something special. Winky, you had tremendous hand speed, tremendous defensive skills, just an all-around great talent, even in the amateurs. And, looking back on your boxing career, how did it all get started? What got you into the sport?
Well, I moved from Washington, D.C. To St. Petersburg, Florida, with my grandparents. And, when I first moved here, I was upset because I moved from a big city, Washington, D.C., to move down here where it was very slow. But I always wanted to box when I was in Washington, D.C., but I was playing basketball, football, baseball every year, so I never had the time to box. So when I moved down here, someone told me about a boxing club, and I was like, you know what, I want to do it. I was 15, getting ready to turn 16, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go try it and see what how it is. I went into the gym. I saw they was boxing and sparring, and they was exercising. I was like, man, I like this. I want to do this. So I told my coach, my only coach, Dan Birmingham, I'll be back tomorrow and I'm gonna start training. And he was like, all right, come on. So I came back the next day, and then I seen some of the kids boxing and sparring, and then I think in a week and a half or 2 weeks, I fought the Golden Gloves. I won the Golden Gloves. And it was over from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So your career really went on the fast track
there.
didn't it?
Oh, man. As an amateur, I was on amateur for only maybe 2 years, and I had like 60 amateur fights. And that was like unheard of at that time, So I went from 16 to 18. I was ranked like number 3 in the world as an amateur, and that was a short period of time. And, they had the Olympics coming up, so I had beat the number one guy, so I should be able to go to the Goodwill game. But because I wasn't boxing long enough, they told me that they didn't want to send me to the Goodwill game. So when they said that, that's when I turned pro. I was like, you know what, I ain't forget amateur.
Is there any one point in your career, any one highlight that comes to mind that you'd have to say was the number one highlight?
Well, I would have to say the first Shane Mosley fight, because that fight allowed the world to realize how good I was. Before, it was always about Winky can fight, Winky doing this, Winky doing that, but he's not beating the Sugar Shane Mosley, he's not beating the Oscar De La Hoyas or the Trinidads or none of them. And I would tell people, only reason I wasn't beating them because they wouldn't fight me. And a lot of people, a lot of boxing fans knew that they was avoiding me, but the average fan didn't understand what I was talking about being avoided. So, I had to go all the way overseas. I had to go everywhere just to come back home. If I wouldn't have went overseas and made my name dominant as I was and becoming number one, I was number one across the board. Before I became champion, I was number one contender in every championship belt. So that's the only reason they fought me. And then I lost that first world championship fight, but it was a learning experience. I still think I easily outclassed him, beat him. It was just some circumstances that he got some knockdowns that shouldn't have been knockdowns, and he won the fight. It is what it is. But from then on, that showed me. I was 20, 21. I said, oh man, he a world champion, I could beat him, and that's what it was. From then on, I went on a path to destroy everybody I got in the ring with.
Outstanding. Now, you got your son here with you as well, but I asked him if he was going to follow in his dad's footsteps and be a boxer. He quickly said, no, not me.
He's going to be smart about
that. Yeah, he's a pretty boy.
And I know Winky has transitioned to the golf course pretty well, but a lot of the folks I know that have talked boxing, one of the greatest defensive fighters of all time. I mean, you never, ever seriously hurt, and have done a good job. Golf senior tour on the work down the road?
Nah, man, we're gonna do some golf stuff though. I got some big things lined up. Hopefully next year with golf, and it's just a fun sport. Golfing is a sport that's fun. The sport that I'm in, boxing, is fun when you win it. It ain't fun when you lose it. In this sport, you can get hurt in boxing. Golf, worst thing, I have a bad day. I go home, take a shower, then do it again the next day. No bruise. you go boxing, you have a bad night, man. It could be very monumental for you.
Wow. Well, Winky, thank you so much for coming by today. We really appreciate it, and great to see you, and congratulations on a great
Absolutely.
career.
I
Excellent
appreciate it,
career.
Yeah,
man.
congratulations.
I appreciate
Big
it.
honor, man. We're
Thank
proud
y'all,
of you.
man.
Yeah,
I appreciate
absolutely.
Florida. I appreciate all my fans in Florida for always repping me, and we did it. Now
Tampa Bay is very proud of you.
definitely, and I'm proud
Very
of them,
proud
man.
of you.
I enjoyed it.
If
I'll
I've
take it.
heard of you, then you know you're a big name. So, absolutely. Thank you so
Y'all
much.
take it.